We've been having this time on Wednesday afternoons for the class that Robin and I just completed last Wednesday. And now this is the open Sangha again, so it's good to be back into the open space. Even though the class would turn out to be pretty open, which is kind of my style, which all of you in here already recognize. The Probably the most important work that's going on in consciousness now universally is the addressing the understanding and the impact of how the shadow creates our experience, how we're caught in distortion fields that have to do with early trauma and things that may not appear to have been very traumatic. They were late picking me up from kindergarten. I'm no good, I don't matter. You see, so we have the understanding of the connection. We do, those of us who are interested in awakening to our true nature, connect the understanding of what the trauma conclusion was that got installed and the correlation between that and how our world shows up. And so we are here together to witness and to acknowledge and to, through sharing, open up the possibility for all of us to come home in appreciation and love for our true nature and to stop being limited and held by the limitation of our self-rejection, which is what the trauma leads to. The trauma leads to a conclusion about ourselves that fundamentally will be expressed in one form or another as self-rejection. I don't matter, I'm not good enough. They're writing songs of love, but not for me. Right? So that's the direction of the Sangha here on Maui that gathers, and there are different configurations. This one on Wednesday is the open one and also includes the Zoom. So what I want to do today is to do the work with anybody who's up for doing the work. And the work is the 6 steps to freedom process, which starts with being triggered in the current happening and finding out how that relates to the early experience that we call the shadow, seeing what conclusion was received from that experience and installed in consciousness, and how that continues to create in our experience so that we understand what's actually going on instead of erroneous believing that somebody else screwed up. They mistreated me. They didn't do it right. If they had done it right, I would be okay. So we're finding the direction of what I consider to be the point of power is in understanding how I participate through a lens that is distorted by my early conclusion about myself. And then through that lens, the information of consciousness correlates to what then arrives. This is the fun part. What then arrives from the quantum field and shows up as a reality. Yeah. It's not as complex or as confusing as I just made it sound. So so I do think that the thing that would be most fun today, excuse me, pardon me, is to answer everybody's phone.
Apologize.
No problem. That anybody who's willing or interested in doing the work, the 6 steps, who's had a recent trigger or has an ongoing current trigger, we can do that. As you all know, I can talk. We can also have topics show up in terms of things that people are interested in. We had a couple of offerings before we started today. So we can exchange information with each other, and from the perspective that I bring, which is a perspective of awakened then there's a bright light available to see more, of what's going on from oneself and in one's world, which is what I do now as my occupation. It occupies me and others. And anybody on the Zoom call also who would have a topic or a query or a 6 steps to do.
Marie, did you want to start? Sure. It's gonna be slightly off what I said before, but I had a acupuncture session 2.5 weeks ago. That caused me to have huge hematoma and busted blood vessel, and it's been hard for me not to blame the person. And it's put a strain on me because every time I have pain, I want to go, that person's name comes up. And I am on a blood thinner, and it was on the paperwork, and I have to see a pulmonologist today. We're supposed to get an echo and short of breath and blah, blah, blah. But the point is, it's hard for me not to do the blame game.
Right.
It's still happening, and it's like
Mhm.
2.5, almost 3 weeks later, I was visiting, taking food to Starheart, up at Cool Sand. It ties it together. And I had seen a body worker who's my main person, it's an osteopath, and he's like a magic worker. And he's the one who saw the whole purple leg and took pictures of it. And that's how it all started. I didn't know what happened because I didn't want to see a little bruise on the inside of my knee. Who looks at the back of their leg? It's hard to see.
Right.
And so it's hard for me to let go of that blame game.
Let's do the 6 steps for me.
Okay,
Okay, so I'm triggered.
I'm triggered
It's about me.
about me.
And what this points to is that where you started, the blame game is about you, right? So we have that place that we're coming from. It's like that's the lens through which we'll see through. It's about me. And the feelings that you've had.
Feeling I had now or then or
The feelings that you've had regarding this incident.
Okay.
Then now.
if I told her I was on this boat, and I don't know how that happened, and it was hard to get, I still can feel the place, but it's caused me a lot of grief for a couple of weeks and limited a lot of what I do. And her name comes up every time I have a pain or I stand wrong or, roll over on, and I can't live like this. It just doesn't make sense to me why I do that. But I came from a household that was playing games.
Mhm. So you feel accusatory
I
towards
feel
her.
accused.
Right. And that feeling, what's the earliest time in your early life when you remember feeling that way? Like somebody else did something to you or that you were wronged? What memory comes up?
Well, I was blamed by my mother when I got lost in the shopping center. There was some kidnapper around or something, and she blamed me, and I was like 4 years old or something. I ran away from her, walked away.
Mhm.
I think blame is just something, it's a judgment.
Right.
Accidents happen.
Mhm.
I get that up here, but it doesn't go down.
Yeah. When she blamed you and you felt that coming in, you concluded something about yourself,
That I was wrong.
that you were wrong. Uh-huh. I'm wrong. That conclusion gets projected. The conclusion, I'm wrong, is a part of the distortion lens through which you perceive reality. Now, the relationship to I'm wrong as a conclusion and what happened to you with the acupuncture, it was acupuncture, yeah. Oh, it pulled in that reflection of being a victim, of being wronged. I'm wrong, I make myself wrong, mommy made me wrong. And now I have the injury, and there probably have been many over your lifetime that have proved it, right? The forgiveness, the 6th step is I forgive myself for ever having believed I'm wrong. I am the awake awareness in which realities arise. Some of them show up in response, configuration, reactions to, they all show up in reaction and response to what we believe about ourselves. Our world shows up through the distortion lens. In this case, the distortion in the lens is I'm wrong. And if
I did something wrong.
I did something wrong,
That makes me the person who does wrong.
right? Do you see the relationship between that self-judgment and being injured? It's kind of obscure, but it's there. You see, if I believe I'm wrong, then bad things happen to me. That makes sense? When we've had the experience of being labeled or having concluded ourselves, I'm wrong or I'm bad, then that creates a distortion lens. Then our world shows up and experience shows up in response to that frequency, that distortion lens. And so now, with that installed, that conclusion, I'm bad, then bad things happen. Does that make sense to you?
It does in a way. I think that's why I've done a lot of good things in my life.
I think,
And
yes,
achieved a lot of things
that's
because
right,
disproving that
that's right,
belief, initial belief.
that's right. So we will, what I call adaptive behaviors to try not to experience what we concluded, I'm bad, there's something wrong with me. Then we do these other things that are that, but then something shows up like this. So if you put the light on this, the light of awareness on this conclusion, I'm bad, and you can see that it could never be true. It was unavoidable when you were 4 years old. And that,
Yeah, I thought of an earlier one too, and I was.
that's
yeah.
right.
So there,
I forgive myself for
I
ever
forgive
having
myself
believed
for
I'm bad.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And just let that awareness enlighten the whole field for you. Thank you, Hermine.
Thank you, Bob.
Did that make sense to everybody in here? Are there any questions about that?
I'm curious, Polly, how you would, if a similar situation had happened and you had gotten acupuncture and been hurt by it,
Right?
what would be going on in your head around that?
Well, I would call her and ask her what to do about it. Or, I don't know, just to do what.
But you wouldn't feel angry or upset or?
No, because shit happens. And typically shit happens out of this dynamic that I just described. The world shows up not as it is, but as we are, as we take ourselves to be. So it never occurs to me that there's anything random going on, right? That, I mean, I would do the 6 steps, the same as I did with Hermine, to see where it is that I'm participating in experiencing something that I don't want to experience. Okay, who's next? Victims.
That makes it really
Juicy, appealing.
appealing. I guess I just wanted to check with you and see. Do you feel anything different as,
I think maybe I'll stop, I'll be able to stop saying her name every time I have a pain, or,
Yeah, yeah,
get all these tests and, I'll do this stuff.
right.
It's been really hard, because we had this really great connection, and it's been severed,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I never said, it's your fault, I never brought up the blood thinner thing, because I went for the paperwork and it's all. So,
yeah, the way that things show up are always a little bit. Not just confusing, but they're obfuscated by circumstances. By the thing, like the blood thinner, like the, but part of the matter, when we get in touch with who we take ourselves to be, then we start to find out what's causing the matter of probably many things in our experience, most everything in our experience. So it's there's the phrase that we came upon, the Sangha all pretty much read Paul Levy's book, The Quantum Revelation, a few months ago, about 6 months ago. And one phrase from that that embodies this understanding of consciousness and reality is, as viewed, as I see it, so it appears in my world. And it can be very, I mean, typically, it looks as if there's an objective world out there happening. But, it's interesting to notice that it's happening to me. That's right. That's the second step. It's about me, right? And so we have this connection to, from probably the 80s. It was bandied about among consciousness circles and New Age gatherings, how that you create your own reality. Well, this is beginning to point precisely to how that works. And it's not the whole story, but it is an insight for us to be aware of. There've been many, many teachers who've pointed out that we don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are. And that's been true through poets and philosophers and now physicists, and in New Age teachers also. And so the really good news about this understanding and the reality of how reality is created is that you have total access to that. We are not victims, right? All information and experience to the contrary, we are participating in our own reality. When we find out the way that we are doing that, then we have access to making corrections and seeing differently. If all of a sudden, I realize I'm seeing myself as a victim, then I can remind myself that shifting that is going to shift the reality, right?
So I guess our question is, about saying something or not. Like what, would we say something to that person, or,
Mhm,
somebody did something not so nice to me.
mhm.
I could kind of, well, I don't wanna be friends with them, or I could say something, which I usually choose to do. You hurt my feelings, what was that about?
Right?
And potentially work it out. But this idea of, finding out what is it that was triggered
Mhm.
and still saying something.
Exactly, right, to represent yourself. It's not that you don't have agency. It's not that there's not something real going on here. But at the heart of the matter is that happening to me often, right? Who am I being to myself? Right? Because who I am being to myself is what's going to show up in my world. And that's where I have access to it. But one step in that process of clearing has to do with representing yourself, being on your own, as I say, being on your own behalf.
Well, say that was kind of important. Who I'm being to myself is how it's gonna show up in my world. So would you say more about that?
Right, it's like if you are like always putting yourself down, right? Then you're likely to have the occurrence of somebody in your world criticizing you. And you feeling like, why did they have to say that to me? I already think I'm a piece of shit. And now they're confirming it and saying it to me and more, but so that to do the work here, I always say the work that we're doing in consciousness means you first. You want something, you give it to yourself first. You want to be loved, appreciated, admired, give it to yourself first, and then your world will reflect it, right? And also just the point that you were making, Patty, is that to be clear with another, like that hurt my feelings when you didn't include me or whatever. Mhm.
Right, thank you.
But you don't, what I know, you've said before, you don't do that to fix it.
No,
It's not about,
that's the level of the problem.
it's not about fixing it or having anything be different with them. It's all you to you.
And that's a tribute to yourself, to be willing and able to express it, to be on your own side in expression, right? But the real work is done when you come home to yourself. And you're no longer judging here, like I'm not good enough or I don't matter. Yeah, our typical, the whole psychological approach is to fix it at the level of the problem. To do nonviolent communication, or I'm okay, you're okay, or all of those other, or even parts and all of these things may be helpful in discerning something that's going on here. But if it's not addressed here, your world is going to keep showing it up out there, who you're being to yourself. Upon incarnation into a physical body, we become subject to external conditions. And so our attention particles go out. Like, I didn't get fed on time. I'm in distress here. I feel like I've been left, I've been abandoned. None of that language would be available, but the energy of that experience would be available for the infant. But energetically, that infant concludes it means something about them. I don't matter, I'm not good enough, right? No, that infant is already participating in its experience. Doesn't seem fair, but that's the way it works. At least it works that way enough for you to consider that if it works that way, there's some work that you can do that will create what you're wanting to experience in your reality. Am I making sense to people? I don't see well, so I can't see your face.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So is it fair to say that regardless of what happens, we're always responsible for our response, reaction, whatever you want to call it? We're always responsible for what we do, think, feel, say, regardless of what anybody else happens, or what anybody else does. Is that a fair way to say that?
Right, we may not feel as if we decided what our response would be. But what our response will be, or how we are interacting, what we are experiencing will be telling us what we're believing about ourselves. Our response is always up to us, but sometimes our reaction response can lead us to an early wounding conclusion. So that we can do this work to see what got installed. Because all of these, what I call installations, that conclusions that get repressed are giving off a frequency. And so then, and that's the information, just to mix metaphors, I mean, I'm full of them, huh? Just giving off information into the field, and it shows up as not being included, as not being invited to the party, as not having enough money, as being left, whatever it is, right? And so who we're being to ourselves is at the heart of our experience. And that's the most important thing to understand. And when we start to do the work there, then our reality starts to clear up, but our experience will already become clearer because what we're experiencing is who we're being to ourselves, right? If I'm believing at some even subconscious level that I'm a piece of shit, then my reality is going to show up like that. But I'm also experiencing all the time in this closed circuit kind of consciousness identity that I am. It's
I have a question or comment.
is that Star?
Yep.
Hi, honey.
I know. The body keeps the score. If there's a body, something that shows up in the body, an example, whether it's your vision or the hematoma or whatnot, and there's not there's an acceptance of what is going on. And then there's an awareness of a lot of kindness and compassion to the body. then the body can change or may not change because we're not looking at the outcome of that to change that. Would that be considered? Um. Is you have an issue with the eyes? Is that a trigger if it doesn't create an emotional distress within you? I mean, you're experiencing, I'm asking because it's like a reflection of me. You're experiencing that, I'm experiencing that. Is that if so, if I dig into myself, I have a physical thing come up. If I do, do you automatically do work when you don't feel a trigger on something that's showing up in the physical body? Because you know it's not who you are?
And only if you're triggered.
Okay,
And if something's showing up in the physical body, like the macular degeneration shows up for me, the diagnosis was years ago. And I'm not triggered by the diminishing eyesight anymore, but to start to know, the body does take the hit, whatever lifetime, whatever early experience, DNA, whatever that is, the body takes the hit. To not be triggered by the body is to not identify as the body.
yes, okay.
But we're gonna be identified as the body, right? It hurts, it's bleeding, it's not, it's not working right, like that. And so that's a trigger, and that's to clear off anything that has to do with that self-rejection that the body takes the hit off. And that's where that works for that issue.
So by doing that work on the body, which is not really on the body, it's on the mind's trigger of the body, then the frequency will show up differently and the body will show up differently. The question,
Absolutely.
so there's always a
Yeah.
possibility in the
Yeah.
next moment of that issue not
That's
being there.
That's right. Or if it not, for sure, the possibility that it no longer triggers.
Yes,
Mhm.
either or.
Right.
Okay,
Oh, yeah,
thank you.
yeah, thank you.
I just sometimes have conversations within about the body takes the hit, awareness of that, and is there another way?
Right.
Pali. It's
Yeah.
Juliana.
Hi, sweetheart,
Can I be the next victim?
please. This is my daughter-in-law.
Hi, everyone. So I'm coming from my victimhood from the opposite spectrum. I'm feeling blamed by my older brother who loves to blame me. And I'm trying to see how I can make this a long story short. My mother, she's 82. She just broke her ankle. We live in different states, all three of us, my brother, my mother, and I, not very close. And my friend is still alive, but he happened to be out of the house. He does hard of hearing. He had his phone off, and my mom called me, and I kind of talked her through it. She was in a lot of pain. She didn't want to call an ambulance, physician, hospital with him. So long, my Thad and my daughter were trying to find my father, like, could he be at this grocery store? We're going to page him. All this, this bit of drama. My mom was, like a little bit in shock and going through stuff. Ultimately came home, an hour or two later, and they went to the hospital, and I would check on them. But I knew that she was going to get good care because my father's a physician. But, basically they tend to put things down. Maybe it's a break, maybe it's a sprain. But then I called the next day and, she'd been x-rayed, she's going to need surgery. And I asked if they had told my older brother, James, and the answer was no, we don't want, when he gets involved, my parents get stressed. He means well, but You know, he's kind of a pushy Aries who, has wanted to put them in a retirement home probably 20 years ago, but they're very independent people and have always kind of resisted that. So when I realized that they hadn't told him they're about to see the doctor and line up stuff and get surgery, I realized I better tell my brother because he's going to be angry with me. And, I asked my parents, are you going to tell him? No, my mom had her whole reasonings like, call eventually. I'm a little annoyed with him lately. I don't want to stress your father out. So, eventually a few, this is less than 24 hours later, I called him and I said, James, I want you to know that mom fell. She's okay. But she's, they're gonna be seeing a doctor, blah, 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 blah. The only drama was that, she was alone and we couldn't reach dad because his hearing aids weren't in and the phone was off, blah, 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 blah. And he was angry with me on the phone. He's like, next time, call me. And I said, well, I'm calling you right now. And he ended up taking a flight that night to their home. He was able to be the hero, and which was great. He helped, carry my mom over the threshold. She got surgery. They, eventually got a hospital bed and a, you know, wheelchair, all that stuff set up. And then he was putting pressure on my parents to have visit once, and I was fine with that. He left, and then I just went and visited for 3 nights. And, I thought everything was fine, but now I've been trying to communicate with him to set up a birthday gift for on my nephew, and I'm being blown off. So my mind's immediately going to this is passive aggressive, he's angry at me, and he's icing me out. So I thought, okay, well, I'll just text my sister-in-law and find out the information I need to know. I basically wanted to confirm a Venmo handle, and she's not responding to me. So I was, now of course wires could be crossed, stuff could be happening, life could be busy. But my instincts are that I'm the bad sister. I'm preventing them from attending to his parents. I mean, that's the thing. I feel like it's a Cain and Abel situation. It's been like this ever since, when you ask me, go back to when my first memory, I'm like, well, there it is. I think he just resents that I was born, that he has to share me, and it makes me upset. I just feel triggered, feeling like we're back to this place where he's angry at me because I feel like I thought we've made progress and we've moved beyond, like we've gotten past that kind of thing. And maybe we have. It could be my imagination, but I'm just feeling this triggered and this roiling that
Right, yeah. Yeah, so at the most simplistic level, it's like, if you don't care, it don't matter. Right?
I want to be like
Yeah, but to go back to what you believe about yourself is what you're suffering with. And then James and Catherine will express it, but it's like you have doubts about yourself, which probably came early on, that you believed that you weren't the daughter you should be. Maybe you were 2 years old, right? But that you'd made a mess that mommy complained about or whatever. But the idea that what James thinks about you can create this kind of trigger is the place where you can get relieved and released from this attachment to his opinion, right? Because you're the one that's believing it about yourself, and then it shows up in your world as him being the one who believes it. So the early experience when you believed he didn't want you there and you were what else did you conclude early on, Julie?
That I had to avoid his anger,
Mhm,
his just kind of bad static,
mhm. Yeah, right. Because when he was doing that, it meant something about you.
Yeah, I mean, I remember just growing up and people would say, "You're Jamie Ellman's sister." I'd have to kind of separate myself, like, "Yeah, really different."
Right. Yeah. Yeah, the conclusion about yourself, is that available to you? What you believed it meant about you, that he felt this way about you, that you had him in your mind whenever you were doing anything, but probably, or not doing. You being in touch with what you concluded about yourself, that's the place where the freedom occurs.
Um, I guess it's that I'm wrong.
Mhm, right. Yeah.
I'm either in the way or I'm wrong.
One
mean,
way or another,
Yeah,
you're the problem.
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't get it. I'm not really, thinking straight
right. Acting at the way it should be. Yeah,
or
yeah,
just bowing to his will. I mean, I know that that's my perception of how he is broadcasting to me.
right. That's right. Yeah, if you don't think you're wrong, however he's expressing or however he's being towards you will not land in a way that you feel that pressure and that reaction, that guilt that you feel, right? So the forgiveness is to yourself for believing that you are wrong or bad, right, in regard to James.
Yeah.
When that's gone, it's just, this is what he does. It's like there, it's not even as impacting as a mosquito in the room, right? It's just, that's what James does. But as long as you feel like you're bad or wrong, in other words, when you were the second born and you felt the vibe of his resentment, that's the setup for this experience for you. Is that he has what he's feeling about you means something about you. It doesn't, it only means something about him, but it lands in you because it started so early. This is often the dynamic of a second born. But then if you add a James identity and an Aries astrology, then
I
you,
mean, I think at the core, it's also just my discomfort with someone being angry at me. And
that's right.
especially when I feel like it's,
Not fair.
it's not fair.
That's
Exactly.
right, and yeah, exactly. Yeah,
And
when we feel like we've been unfairly seen, unfairly perceived, unfairly treated, and that's anger, that's just another component part of the experience of what we've concluded about ourselves, is that I didn't do it right, I'm not the one, I'm not good enough, I don't know what to do. That whole self, mm, the lens of our self-judgment that comes from the dynamic of experiencing somebody else's projection onto us, which is what happens early with second born. Yeah. But you can forgive yourself for believing all of that. And what the forgiveness is just seeing it. It's like the light coming on for this dynamic and for this, it's all an error, right? It's like the minute that bright light shines, it dispels that configuration of I fucked up, I'm not good enough, I didn't do it right, there's something wrong with me, and it's not fair. Now we got the victim component because I'm doing the best I can do. I'm as good a big sister as I can, little sister as I can be, right? All of that just is shown away. And then it's just like you'll get the information when you get it, right? no longer is this weighted. Because it's that self-judgment and our feeling of being victimized by them that weights the experience. And then we're suffering with it, and our minds will go there, but shine it away. I forgive myself for ever believing that. I'm not subject to his opinion. Right?
So what do you do when the decision is yours? In the beginning, do I call him or not? Because if I call him, then this might happen, so.
Well, I
that's
said if I want to know something, he either answers or he doesn't, but you can do whatever you need to do, but it no longer means anything about you. Once you see clearly, it's like if this light of awareness is you can shine it on and you see clearly the dynamic that occurred early on and that it got installed. I mean, we're not talking about a little thing here for any of us, right? We're talking about something that's been operational in our experience for our whole lives. So it's important and it's big, but it also has the simple solution, which is to see as viewed so appears, to see how it's been operating, to see where it came from, and to let it go. When the light is bright enough, you can shine it on something, and whatever you're shining on it, it's shown away, it disappears. And that's what the light of awareness can do with these early self-conclusions. Like and I know Julie really well, and that your concern for how you're perceived by others is, and in this case, James, is a piece of this that can be dispelled, right?
Yeah.
Because there's nothing you can do about it. And it doesn't serve you to effort to do something about it. A lot of freedom to be had here.
Well, thank you. I love you.
I love you too, sweetheart. See you in December.
Thank you, Juliana. So we have about 10 minutes left. Anyone on Zoom or in the room here have something you'd like to work on or ask about?
Everybody's totally enlightened. This is such good news.
I'll go.
All right, baby.
Okay, I'm triggered and I think it's about me.
It might be.
And circumstances, my sister's disease is progressing.
Mhm. If you can speak up a little bit, Becky.
My sister's disease is
Mhm.
progressive. She can no longer speak and her arm is getting too weak to type
Mhm.
for communication. And I want to go see her in Philadelphia and she hasn't allowed me to come yet. Or, and she hasn't said I can come. So then what comes next?
So I'm triggered
I'm triggered
by her not
by her not wanting to come, not wanting me to come.
right. It's about me.
It's about me. I'm also triggered that she's dying.
Right.
But
But this impasse here.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm triggered. It's about me. Feelings of kind of hopeless.
Yeah.
Hopeless.
Feels really hopeless.
Like
there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
It's hopeless.
Yeah, I'm hopeless and kind of depressed. And it doesn't remind me of a childhood time.
Mhm.
I
The
don't,
feeling. See,
the feeling of
it's a feeling brings up any memory. The feeling of like maybe hopelessness, despair. There's nothing I can
Despair,
frustration.
frustration.
Mhm.
I can't get to do what I want to do.
Right.
Mhm. just despair, about um, the end,
Mhm.
dying.
Do you remember feeling like there was an impasse in your early childhood or later in where you felt impeded, like you couldn't do what you felt you needed or wanted to do? Um,
With Andrea, with my sister.
Not necessarily, no,
Mm.
just in your own experience. It may have been in school, it may have been in the family home.
I'm sure there were times where I wasn't given permission
Mhm.
to do something, and also my mother was pretty toxic. She used to scream, and and you never knew when it was coming or what it was about.
Right,
Um, um,
did you feel it was directed at you?
oh yeah, it was directed at me.
Mhm. Right,
Um,
so there must have been times when
somehow like
you,
I'm a bad person.
you must have been times when you wanted to do something and she would.
I don't even remember wanting. I must have been wanting to do something. I don't remember what it was about.
Mhm,
But there's some kind of sense of I'm a bad person.
mhm,
Like
right,
Andrea doesn't want me to come because
yeah,
um I'll get in the way, or my sadness will be a burden on her, or
mhm,
I'll talk too much or not talk enough, or somehow whatever I'm doing is gonna be wrong. That's why she doesn't want me to come.
there's fundamentally something wrong with me.
There's something wrong with me.
Yeah, yeah, and that belief has you experiencing whatever is coming from her through that lens. And so, and there's nothing, I mean, I don't know what's coming from her. We've talked to some about it, but her expression to you, you will, it will be distorted by there's something wrong with me, right? So that you're not even available for your full-on heartfelt connection to her,
There's something wrong with me, and I'm being left out.
right?
I'm being left out.
Mhm.
I mean, my motivation is it's getting worse, and I want to be with her at the worst
Right,
because I'm close to her.
right.
And
So your opportunity here is to see that you've had a self-conclusion.
oh, I didn't need it. I knew it.
Yes, you.
That there's something wrong with me,
Right.
and
Yeah,
maybe I'm going to be left out.
yeah,
Yeah, with this one, it's like there's something wrong with me. That's why I'm not wanted,
mhm,
and I'm going to be left out
right,
of the intimacy with her. Um, um, and somehow let's make it be Bernice's fault.
like, for sure.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah. Like,
God bless you, Bernice.
yeah, Bernice, yeah, Bernice. Yeah, so to see that that's what is creating a distortion, right? I mean, this may or may not be helpful. To be able to see that gives you the possibility for dispelling it. I don't know if you can totally, but at least if you're just aware that, and I know you are aware, and you so know Andrea so well, you know that she probably doesn't have these judgments of you, does she?
She really loves me. I never thought
Exactly.
she doesn't love me.
That's right.
But I know she doesn't want, I mean, she doesn't want me to come. I said, let me come.
Well, you believe that there's something wrong with you. Can you imagine that that's a part of the dynamic that's going on? Your belief? This is what I want you to clear. I'm not saying she'll change her mind. I don't know. But I know that it will not be the same.
I'm guessing that she doesn't believe there's something wrong with me, that I'm the one who believes it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So I forgive myself for believing there's something wrong with me.
I don't forgive myself, it's wrong and bad that I think that.
That's right, so.
That's
forgive
the
yourself.
hardest part, I shouldn't think that.
Well, you do, so. Forgive yourself.
I should.
Um,
So do you expect other people to be kinder to you than you are to yourself? They often are, because I know how
They-
much people appreciate and love you. I know
they're,
that,
they're,
much,
they're much kinder than me than I am to myself. Of
Yeah.
course.
right? Mhm. It's your turn now.
I don't see how you just flip that switch.
It's the shining of the light, it's the seeing that that was the conclusion of a child. It wasn't true then, but it was unavoidable. And it got installed and it's been operating, so you've become accustomed to seeing reality through that distortion. There's something wrong with me. This is like finding out that you've had a bad habit of eating white bread and now you just found out that it's not good for you. It's time to see, and in the seeing of it, to shift it. You absolutely are capable to do this. Every single one of us is.
Keep
capable.
saying that, say it again.
You're totally competent and capable to shift out of this. Every one of us is capable to see differently. This is what waking up is, it's to see differently. Instead of the distortion.
Is there something else I can help with?
That's enough.
Thank you,
Siri, Alexa, or they're tuned in here.
That's right.
It's at the hour, I don't wanna go over your time.
Go ahead and do it now then.
I love you, Polly.
Everybody loves you, it's your turn.
Yeah, she really loves me.
Yeah, she does.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, everyone. We're gonna pause here for a moment, and I'm asking the room to stay in silence here. There's a donation basket back there, and there's PayPal and Venmo. To give a donation to Polly, and we're gonna go into 45 minutes of silent meditation now. And I will turn off the recording.